On this episode of One Man, One Hand, and No Real Plan, we take a step up! Of course, the first thing we need to do is put the front fender back on so we can figure out where exactly our brackets need to be to put the floor or the middle section, where it needs to be to put the middle section of the running boards on it.
No, Ralph. This means you're failing English.
Me fail English? That's impossible.
The front fender is supported at the front with the brackets you saw me put on. But on the back, most of the weight is carried by the running board bracketry that holds up the section you would actually step on. And so, for right now, there's a little hole right here that would line up. And then you clamp it, I'm just going to clamp it to the lip of this inside. A lot of times it's easier for me to flip and look up and get my right hand on the inside. So once I got this in a mock-up shape, it's loosely together. It's loose enough together, but where I could kind of see where the middle section, the step portion of the running boards would land. I noticed that this there's a pinhole that's supposed to align up front, in the front of this, and it's just not matching up right. And I think what happened is this was that fender that had that big damage, particularly in here, and I think it pushed it together like this, and it used to line up. Now I need it to come back. I don't know. I'm going to have to measure this because what I think it needs and what it's showing me it needs are two different things.
A few moments later.
So, in the continuous saga that is trying to figure out these fenders, this set that's actually on it right now were not originally with the truck. I found them. It took me over 11 years. I wanted a set of 36 front fenders that didn't have the spare tire wheel well in it. And the ones that I had with the truck originally, they had that wheel well in it. Well, when I measured the distance from the end of the running board to the front of the firewall, that one was like right at 17 inches. This one's at 18. And what's weird, I don't know if it shows up very good, but it seems to be sitting further forward and further back. So I drug down this white one, and I'll show you. One of the reasons I had been looking for a set is this fender was like this when I got it. And so it had been completely split, and there's some sort of metal strip behind it where they had drilled and run some screws in, and they tried to weld it up, and it's not in great shape. But it was actually on the truck before, and things were kind of bolted together. And so I'm going to try measuring these fenders and see what the distance is. That is right at 60 3/4. One I just took back off is 61 3/4. So it's literally an inch longer. So now I'm going to take the passenger fender off and see how long it is. Now here's that I put on originally, or I put on initially in this video. Well, duck, 62 inches. I've got the original passenger fender up there. Wonder what it is. I just got down from the rafters measuring the driver's, or the original passenger side. It's 62.5. So I've got 4 1936 Chevrolet fenders, 1 year only fenders, 1 year only, and all 4 of them are different lengths. What on earth? Why does it always come down to a matter of inches? So after thinking about it for a little while, I've decided my plan is going to be, I'm going to take the good one that I know, I trust it's being dent free and that kind of stuff. I'm going to get it lined up with the landing hole underneath here, and however far back, it'll be 17.5, 18 inches back. Make this side be that, and then I'll match the driver's side to it and call it good that way. I'm hoping this will work. Here's why I decided that mark may not necessarily be a witness mark or a place where to put it, because this contour matches up right here. It matches the cab. It does everything it's supposed to. If I move that back that ½ inch, it doesn't, nothing lines up anymore. There's a huge gap and everything. So I really think it's sitting where it's supposed to be. And so what I'm going to do when I get to the other side, I'm going to match it to this, whatever it is, and go from there and make it line up perfect. But that is no coincidence that taper is identical, and the way they fit is just, it's pretty spot on for considering it's just a simple little clamp holding it, and it's not even supported all the way out. That's what the fender does, or the middle section does. So I'm going to go with this and work from there. Plan 687. This is the passenger, but how it mounted was they would take and stick a bolt in, and it would slide into that hole. Then you pry that back up and it becomes a captive nut. And what I need to make is the bracket that would come across, go out, and then mount to the frame. And so what I'm going to do is bolt this up to that front fender and then clamp it where it would go against the cab, and try and figure out how far I need and where they would be located on the frame itself. Okay. So I've got some clamps and I've got some 1/4 inch bolts I'm going to try and use to get this up here and see how it goes. There. Now I'm gonna tighten these up a little bit, hopefully. maximum of 13 inches from there to this outside of the frame. And on the back, looks like 13. So I need to make something 13 inches, and then I need it, that's almost parallel with the bottom of the frame. So 13 inches, and then we'll work out the rest. So I need two 13-inch, and I'm just going to use this 1-inch tube since it's about the exact same size as everything else. Then I plan to make a vertical piece like this, and then I'll put some wings on here that I can bolt to the frame. So I've laid out, I'm just messing around measuring. I'm going to use some real thick plate. This will be the vertical piece, and then we'll bolt it to the frame. Whoopsies. We'll bolt it to the frame like that. Of course, now that we've got one, we'll probably need 3 more. Ding! Also, when drilling the holes, make sure you use a clamp to hold it down and don't think, oh, it's just one more. Because then it gets nice and purple and really hurts. Now that we've got 4, 2 for each side, now we got to clean them up. So we'll do that next. I can't remember if I've shown this or not, but I love this little vise for giving me a second hand to hold things. You just screw it up on the bottom to any sort of flat surface, and then you get it's like a little 2-inch vise, maybe 2.5, but it's fantastic. Another thing I like to use to help me hold stuff is it's basically it is an electromagnet, and it's got you can mount it permanently. It's got these tabs on the side, you can mount it, but I tend to keep mine, since it's a small one, I just get it, it's super heavy. This is probably, I don't know, 25 pounds or so. And it's not very big, but it's perfect for this type of thing. All you do is just take the appropriate size and turn it from off to on. So like right now, I can move this around, and if I turn it on, now it's stuck. I can't move it, and it holds it for me. So I might finish some of these on that. I took and rounded the edges, both the corners and the edges, to make it look a little less farm implement and a lot more polished. But now I just need to put the square tubing on in the middle and tack it in place and start locating. And then there were 4. That's the number of the day.
The number of the day is 4.
So I've got the jack lifting up the running board to where it's roughly level with the floor. And now I'm going to go underneath and see if we can't figure out where these brackets we made should be on the frame. Please don't fall. So that'll help me hold it. And I'm just staying in line with this, roughly. And so now, I'm going to take my marker and mark that 100 times to make sure I got it. Okay. And this looks just about basically that's roughly where it'll go. I'm going to trace around the outside of the bracket here. Hopefully. Oh, don't fall. Lots of balance in my world. There. Now we've got a... Oh, can't quite reach it. Rough idea of where that goes. Let me get the front one done. The cab mount is right here, and it's falling right into that. And I'm not sure I really want the running board tied into the mount for the running board tied into that cab mount, because then it would stick out if I ever had the cab on and not the running boards, and I'd like to be able to take them on and off. So I may run a different setup for that. Maybe some sort of a triangle piece. I don't know. Let's do the front and we'll figure that part out. Oh, gosh. This is our little trace that we made while we were underneath there. And so I need to mark the center of each of these holes. If you're wondering what these grind spots are, it's because I had previously tried to mount these up, I don't know, a long time ago. And there was some blind man welding going on there. And so I cleaned it up. But I'm going to hold this right like this. And I'm just going to mark our holes. Now I drilled these oversized so that there would be some adjustability. I'm not 100% sure without the bed on how far deep or how far in and out, and if it needs to go up and down a little bit. So I'm giving myself a little bit of wiggle room here. Maybe. I like a pencil on this kind of stuff because it's much smaller.
That's what she said.
And it gives you it's almost like a scribe. So now I gotta jack it up, get it back down to level so I can put the running board back on. And we've got this little piece out of the way, and we got all that stuff out of the way, so we can see where the mount is actually going to end up on the back. eventually I want this to be down to where these can all intersect, like right there. So that's where that's gonna sit. Now I just gotta mark my holes, drill, tap that whole part again. Right in the eye. Woo! Got her cut. I just used my bandsaw that you've seen before. And now we're just gonna tack that in place, and that'll be our mount. I gotta clean this up a little. It's pretty tough. Well, now let's double check everything still halfway lines up. So now that we've got the back one tacked in place, we can put our cross brace for the front one in, having a ballpark idea of where it goes now. So we just need to set this on, have it touch roughly where it goes. And then we'll just tack it. Now we get to do the fun part. Take the running board off again, and then weld our brackets up. Hooray! One thing I am gonna do, just to seal them off, is I'm just gonna put some caps over these open ends to seal them up and keep them from gathering stuff and rusting. But I've got a little piece of square I'm going to put right there to make that match up and weld it in, and it'll all be solid and cleaned up when we're done. And after some welding and some grinding, you end up with a decent looking bracket, really. But it ain't perfect, but it's gonna hold. It'll do fine. The other one's still hot, you know, because I'm a dumbass, so I just keep grabbing it.
It's because you're a dumbass.
But I think they'll work. So I went ahead and drilled and tapped the other two holes for this rear bracket as well on the square, and I've got them bolted up. So now we'll put it back on. I think we're gonna stop there. My back is killing me, and I need to sort out that other fender before I can make the brackets for the other side. But I'm super pleased with how this turned out. If you've enjoyed this video, please feel free to give me a like or consider subscribing. I just started an Instagram account for the channel, which is UpwardPenny, all lowercase on Instagram. And until the next one, we'll just keep on working.